you kind of see the setback line that rides through that gray rectangle. The yellow piece is the proposed projection into that lakefront setback. And then request number 2 is for the existing retaining wall systems. So I have a few more slides in the presentation that help to show what this really means. But we're extending the patio to allow for the loggia extension. So in turn, we're raising the retaining walls, which then increases its height above grade. So again, we're working out the existing conditions. So really 2 variance requests. So we broke the practical difficulties out per 2 sections. So one will start with the 9-foot variance, so request number 1. So this is one thing that we noticed. So this is an existing house that was built kind of askew to the lakefront line. I mean, it's not much, but it does impact what we're doing in the rear yard. So you can see that the rear face of the house is somewhat parallel to the lakefront, but it's skewed a bit. So it makes our corner condition in the southwest corner of that yellow box, it projects more into the lake. So that hurts us a bit. Next slide, please. This is a great graphic too that we took. So what this shows is this is a discussion about the rear setback line. So what this shows is the house in question, Reed's house, is shown by the star there. And it's really a kind of a tale of 2 halves. So that white line, that white vertical line, you can see the difference here. If you look where the star is, the house number 1 to the left, and then 2, 3, and 4 to the right share a very similar waterfront line. They all share similar setback lines too. They're all somewhat close to the property. So in the next slide, what you'll see is when we average those, I'm sorry, if we go back one, if we average those properties out, of those setbacks out, it's like 38.9 feet. Now we look at the 3 houses to the left, 1, 2, and 3, you see the water line, the land kind of projects into the water line a bit, and those setbacks are much deeper. Those 3 houses are about 111.9 feet. So it's a big discrepancy. So I know we have to calculate that per the ordinance, but really those 3 homes really have no impact on this house from a sightline standpoint, from a visibility standpoint. So it really skews our numbers, what I'm trying to get at. So this next graphic here is a bit of we beat the rain today, we were able to get our drone up in the air. But what this shows is really more of a zoomed in look of that area. So again, you see the star right there in the middle of the screen. That represents our proposed loggia piece right there. So again, that yellow line is the same as the white line in the previous slide, but you can see the house on the left, which really blocks all the homes that have the greater setback, is 32.3. The house to our right is 36. The other ones are 44, 55, 26. So our setback at 57.3 is greater than all of those, that average. That average is 38.9. We're proposing 57.3. I know I shouldn't probably compare their communities, but like West Bloomfield, for example, they often look at waterfront properties by drawing a diagonal line between the corners of your 2 immediate neighbors. In this case, we went best case scenario. We could have taken that line to the closest point on that right-hand side, but we went to the corner closest to this house. And we're not extending past that vision line either. So we designed it with intent. I know we're over the setback line, but we designed this with intent. We're trying to be kind to our neighbors. We don't want to block their views by any means. So we feel this meets the spirit of the ordinance, but that left-hand sign is hurting us a bit. So that's a practical difficulty for the setback. Next slide, please. So again, this is related to request number 2, the retaining walls. So this is an aerial view of the existing conditions. So you kind of see the retaining walls. You see the green hedgerow along the patio area, and that's elevated. And then we have those retaining walls that kind of tear us down. So the one disadvantage here is there's about a 20-foot grade difference between the patio and the water's edge. So that's a lot to make up. Per my understanding, and I could be corrected, the ordinance requires retaining walls to be separated by 8 feet of distance, and they can be no more than 4 feet of height. So those existing, you see those little dimension lines, all the existing planters do not meet that 8-foot regulation. So they're already existing non-conforming conditions. But I also believe we have a waterfront feature line we can't build into. So we're kind of handcuffed by the placement of the existing house, the placement of the retaining walls. We really can't build those out to comply. It's a pretty severe grade difference on the water. So that's just the one condition that we're dealing with right now, existing retaining walls, and they're in great shape. So we're proposing to build them, to keep them, just to build up from them. Next slide, please. So this is, again, over that same slide, it's helping to show what we're looking to do here. Then we have other graphics that show the finished product. So that yellow dash line shows the extent of what we're trying to do is bring the patio out into that area to accommodate that new covered patio, that covered loggia, I should say. So that dash line would be the extent of the new patio surface, and it's really coming out to the point where that existing retaining wall is. We're simply building that wall up to meet that surface, but we're stacking on top of that wall. So where the height difference comes in is because we're going up, the existing grade is staying where it is, so now we're just increasing that height a little bit more. But as you see in the design, the idea is to kind of clean some of this up. We have these skinny planting beds. A lot of the vegetation has died in there. So our landscape architect did a great job selecting plantings we feel that'll help minimize that distance. It'll make that look much more beautiful and elegant from the water's edge. So that's what we're looking to do. We're simply building on top of those existing walls in this area. Next slide, please. So this is a view of the proposed finished product right here. So you would see that covered loggia space that's coming out. That yellow dash line represents that wall I just showed in the previous slide, but we're building up. So we're simply stacking on top of it to get to that point. So really the area of encroachment is kind of where those flowery plants are right there. It's not over the course of the whole wall, it's just in that immediate area. And we simply can't raise it up anymore. We have to work within the confines of that 20 feet in the separation. There's existing walkways that lead you from the patio out to the lake, so we're trying to keep that in place. So the idea is, like I said, with help from our landscape architect, we'll have beautiful plantings to help diminish that wall. The thing that's deceiving too is when you can only really see this from the water's edge. The neighbors are tight left and right. So when you're looking up at it, it further diminishes that height difference. So again, just also trying to make this safe for Reed's young family too. As young kids, we're trying to make sure that retaining wall's up high enough so they don't fall off that 7-foot wall. So again, simplifying everything and just trying to work within what we have. And these are just a few more images around the, sorry, next slide, please. You can just flip through some of these, just kind of showing. Another great point to bring up is there is a dense evergreen screen between Reed's house and the existing neighbors. So Reed shared a photo with me that he took before I left his house today, and those are tall pines. You really can't see back and forth. So the neighbor that's there won't even be able to see this based on that vegetation where it is. And again, it's stepped behind their house, so we're not coming out any further. So more views. And then just to recap, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but we feel we have practical difficulty based on the water line setback that we described. And then retaining walls, we're trying to work within the existing, trying to beautify it, but we do have a slight height variance we're looking for because those existing conditions are there. So with that, we'll answer any questions. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any questions from the board?
Nice presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
Here's one question I noticed when I was reading your materials, that you noted that the variance was really required to get the size of the porch that you wanted. What is the size of the porch?
The overall square footage of it? Sorry.
Give me dimensions.
I don't have that handy. I apologize. Maybe our submittal might have those dimensions in there. I'm not sure, though.
Estimate? Can you guestimate for me?
I think it goes from we're asking to go from 20 feet to 23 feet.
Okay.
So I think that's roughly, it's just a few feet increase.
Okay. That's what I
Yeah,
was
sorry.
looking for. Okay.
Thank you, Rita. Appreciate that.
Close enough. Any other questions? I'll open this up to the public for comment. Does anyone like to speak on this item? Look, then please come.
Great presentation. Set the bar for the rest.
That's okay. We accept all talents and all abilities. So I'll close the public hearing then, bring it back to the board for discussion or motion. And it was, I'd say the same thing. Well done.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay.
With respect to the property located at 3530 Franklin Road, I would move to approve the request for dimensional variances for the addition encroaching 9 feet into the Lakefoot average, and for retaining walls not meeting the minimal separation distance and to exceed 4 feet in height. Because the applicant has demonstrated practical difficulty, compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be difficult due to the placement of the house on the lot, being angled on the lot, the fact that the shoreline actually goes in toward these properties and then goes out farther, resulting in an increase on what the average setback would be from that waterfront. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors because the applicant has demonstrated that in fact he is in line or behind the homes adjacent to him, so he'll have no impact on that by this construction. The unique circumstances have been demonstrated by the things that I've already described, and it's not self-created. If approved, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year for the addition and the retaining walls.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Calling the next item, item 2, 172 Overhill. Is the applicant ready? Anyone here for 172 Overhill?
Nobody's here tonight.
Wow.
No wonder the crowd's small.
I think I have an update on this one. If I recall correctly, I believe that we were informed by the applicant that they're actually on the village board meeting this evening. So perhaps this would be something that would be a consideration to be considered at a future meeting after they get the appearance before the village board.
Okay.
So we need a motion to postpone it?
Postpone to the next
Okay.
available agenda? Is that what you,
I'll
okay?
make a motion to postpone this to the next agenda.
Support?
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Postponed. Calling the next item, item 3, 3015 East Bradford.
Hi, my name's Tim Kreiderman. I'm representing Jason and Molly Folt at 3015 East Bradford. It's a tough presentation to follow, so I'll do my best. So we're looking to do a couple variances here. One's just a permission variance for the accessory structure. The other one is with the fireplace is over the 14 feet. You know, obviously we want the fireplace to exhaust higher than the house and the windows. That's
Is
why-
that code? 'Cause
That's
we
what
talked
I-
about that at
that's what I
staff.
wanted to know.
There's
Yeah, so anything that exhausts within 10 feet of the building needs to be 2 foot higher than anything within 2 feet. That is the Michigan Residential
Yeah,
Building Code.
thought I remembered that, okay.
Yeah, yeah, so, so if you wanna go through the slide, so as you can see, it's, you know, it's about a 20 by 23 area to increase our outdoor living space. We have a nice fireplace with outdoor kitchen. It'll just be the one square right there. Do a nice little barbecue, outdoor kitchen area. You keep going. As you can see, this is the back of the house. We have plenty of screening. If you go to the next one, the next one, these ones are all. So on the top right, we have tons of evergreens on the left-hand side. On the left one, there's plenty of vegetation that covers up everything in the back. And then looking over towards the west is there. We have everything pretty well screened with the natural vegetation. We have HOA who already went through and scrutinized it, gave us approvals. We've got basically every neighbor on the street has, issued letters of support. I guess could open up to questions for you guys, for me.
Any questions from the board? Open this to the public for comment. Anyone like to comment on this item? Step forward, give us your name and address.
Mike Smith, and I live at 3571 Berkshire Drive in Bloomfield Hills. I am a member of the board of directors for the association and also co-director for the Architectural Control Committee. Now, we did receive this application, and we all reviewed it, and I personally made a on-site visit to the property, and I agree that the screening is adequate on the east side of the lot, but on the south side and the west side, it's a little sparse. And especially on the south side, it's not the type of screening that will provide any screening during the winter months, as far as that's concerned. So we did approve it, but I would hope that the board here would require adequate screening of the perimeter of the lot. Like I said, the one side is well screened, like he said, but the other two sides, not so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all the time you spend in your neighborhood and your different roles. Anyone else that'd like to speak on this item? So I'll close the public hearing and bring it back. Did you want to respond to those comments?
Yeah, my homeowner is fine adding screening, and when we talked with Mike, we let him know that we would do whatever the board would want us to do. So if there's something that we need to do to add adequate screening to suffice, my client's more than happy to take care of whatever we need to do, and we can put that into the approval.
That's wonderful. Great. So with that, I think we can make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay?
I'll start with the permission request first. In regards to the appeal at 3015 East Bradford Road for the accessory structure of a fireplace, I move that the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the use of the accessory structure is appropriate for the neighborhood, as these types of fireplaces and structures are very common. In terms of the dimensional variance for the covered patio and fireplace at the same location, I also move that that variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome, basically because without the fireplace at the height that it is proposed would prevent the reasonable use of that accessory structure actually, and also it would be against code. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors because although the lot is screened, the applicant is willing to put additional screening as well. And the unique circumstances of the property, basically because of the height of the home, that's why you have to have this variance. And with that, it is not self-created. So if approved, the motion also includes applications for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. And additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the accessory structure from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the structure at the time of planting for 12 months of the year.
Support.
So I have a motion and support. Any discussion of the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Calling item 4, 2785 Ayrshire. Ayrshire?
Ayrshire.
Ayrshire. That was close.
Hi guys, my name's Aaron Shea. I'm here on behalf of myself. My builder Pat Hill and my architect Mike Welker are also here if you guys have any questions. We started a project a while ago and replaced a wall with a wall. I don't know if we have photos or not for this project. You probably do.
Well, I think I can help you. So we actually approved this before.
You did.
Yeah, the time has lapsed and we have to approve it again.
Exactly. We had a miscommunication. We had the paperwork filled out. It never got filed, blah, blah, blah. And we're here to just get back in front of you to go through the process. The wall's been replaced with a wall. It's working great. Everything's done. Just wanted to make sure we have any questions for you guys to answer with the
Okay,
project.
any questions? Open this to the public. Any comment? Close the public, bring it back.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
With regard to the appeal at 2785 Ayrshire Drive for the dimensional variance for an existing retaining wall exceeding 2 feet in height located less than 8 feet from a property line, I move that this variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all of the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the severe topography of the lot. There's no injustice to adjoining neighbors by reason that it is reasonable considering the orientation of the home and the lot. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given that it is has this sloping area and this is not self-created. So if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 5 business days for the existing retaining wall. Additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the existing retaining wall from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the wall at the time of planting.
Support. Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you, guys.
Calling item 4593 Chelsea.
Yes, my name is Dr. Sabharwal. I'm the owner of the house. We have a real old house, was built in 1989. It had geothermal system in it. We bought it like 10 years ago. And the old geothermal systems all rotten out and leaking. We want to replace it with the fresh air conditioner and the heating unit. It is a long house, so the side of the house will not cover a large air conditioner unit from the side to the other side of the house, which is 190 feet long. And he tells me the air conditioner unit don't come more than 120 feet long. So one unit has to go in front of the house and other unit has to go to the side of the house. So requesting air conditioner unit to be installed in close to our garage area. It's covered area already. It is evergreen around it. So we can install right behind it so nobody can see it.
Any questions from the board? So I'll open this to the public. Anyone like to comment on this item? I'll close public hearing.
If I could just make a comment for point of clarification, the front generator, which is highlighted in the yellow, which is number 1, that is the variance request that they're seeking. It's been determined that the other one that's located more to the side of the house would be compliant as it's in a side yard. So I just want to clarify that the request this evening is specifically for the number 1 that really, and it says Leland and Chelsea Lane because it's kind of right smack in the center. I just want to make that clarification.
And the screening for it is what again?
It's already in place. I'm sorry?
There's evergreen shrub.
It's evergreen,
It's
okay.
already there. Yeah, 4 feet high, they're already there,
Okay.
in existence.
I'm the heating contractor with Comfort Plus in Troy. Thanks, Chris. But yes, it's a old failed geothermal system that is a closed or an open loop where it actually drained into the city sewers. And so that's no longer accepted. And there's no other place to run air conditioning.
So
lights.
it's a great improvement then.
Yes.
Okay. So
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the dimensional variance request at 4593 Chelsea Lane, I would move that the dimensional variance, I make sure this thing's working right, make sure the dimensional variance is approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant has demonstrated all of the standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because, in fact, it would not accomplish the objective. It needs to be in the front where it can easily and better access the home for the heating and cooling. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors. It is, in fact, already screened and is eliminating a hazard with drainage, through drainage into the sewer system. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given the failed geothermal heating system currently there, and that certainly was not self-created. Mr. Chairman, if this motion is approved, all necessary permits must be made within 1 year for the generator, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation. I do not see a need for additional evergreen screening because there is currently sufficient evergreen screening on site.
Support.
motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
So we're calling item 6, 1773 Maplewood. Is the applicant ready?
Yes, thank you. Hello, Hassan Saleh on behalf of the property owner at 1773 Maplewood. We're requesting to build a new detached garage, which would slide in right next to the current existing garage. We needed to request a variance for 2 reasons. One is that the square footage of the garage will exceed the code allowable square footage by a few hundred feet, a couple hundred feet. And the other thing is the code calls for accessory structures not to exceed 14 feet, and we wanted to go to 15 feet high. Our intent, as stated, is to match the existing look, same brick and finish as the house. We're gonna change the existing garage doors to match the same set that gets put on the new garage. That way it's all one uniform look. The neighbors have been consulted. Everybody seems to be in support of it. And the spot that it would sit on the lot is not visible from the street, but is also already screened by evergreen trees on both sides.
Do you know what's gonna happen to the shed that's on the kind of the north?
I was gonna ask that.
We'll get rid of that once the garage is up.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, because that will reduce your variance by 100 feet.
There we
So,
go.
yeah, so you wouldn't have a problem with that being a condition of the approval.
Oh, absolutely not. Plus,
Okay.
Makes
the
it
shed's
less
there
of a-
by necessity, but we don't love the way it looks.
With that beautiful garage, you don't need the shed.
Exactly.
we go.
All right, so I'll open this to public. Anyone like to comment on this? Close the hearing, bring it back so that Carol can make the motion.
Oh, okay. With respect to the property located at 1773 Maplewood Avenue, I would first move to grant the permission request because the applicant has demonstrated compliance with section 42-7.6 standards, specifically the size, use, and the location of the accessory structure is compatible with adjacent properties, and it's not objectionable for any reason. I would also move to grant the dimensional variances, which would be two. One would be for the height of the garage to exceed the 14 feet to be a 15 feet, and for the accessory space exceeding 1/2 the ground floor area, because the applicant has demonstrated practical difficulty. The practical difficulty is, oops, my page here. For one, it's the location of that property. It butts up to commercial property, and is described by the applicant, this is needed for very specific reasons in their household. There'd be no injustice to the adjoining neighbors. The neighbors have not complained. The one lot is adjacent because it's part of the commercial building. And the unique circumstances have been demonstrated by this, and it's not self-created. I would note that if the motion is approved, it's going to include the following. One, that the shed must be removed, along with construction of the garage. Two, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year. All permits must be obtained prior to commencing installation. And you have to do a single-family affidavit that's required to be submitted to the township.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
So calling item 73950 Franklin, is the applicant ready?
Hi, my name is Sabrina with Mosier Design Company. I'm here on behalf of the homeowner at 3950 Franklin Road. Basically, we're here to get your approval for two variances to install two AC units that are, oh my goodness, I'm wording this not correctly, but within the 10-foot side yard setback and then not against the primary structure. So this house is about 100-year-old or so existing house that is currently non-conforming to the current setbacks, and as well as it already having kind of an existing mechanical area that houses about four of the existing AC units. Currently, there is an 8-foot wall. You can kind of see on the right of that bottom picture. So there's an 8-foot wall along the whole property line that would avoid any noise or visuals from the side yard and the neighbor. And then on the inside of the property, it is completely screened with evergreens and not visible even from the existing walkway that is there. But there are kind of, the hardship is essentially the existing conditions and to not be able to put it against to the house. And then the house is currently kind of right at 10 feet, I believe, to the property. So obviously to hold that, to put it next to the house is a little bit hard to do with everything and having it outside of that 10 feet. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? Open this to the public for comment. Anyone like to comment on this item? Close the public comment and bring it back for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm willing to make a motion.
That would be great, thank you.
Okay, in regard to the appeal at 3950 Franklin Road, for the dimensional variance relative to the location of these AC units. I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty, given the fact that compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome, given the layout of both the home and also the existing mechanical area. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the screening and the location where these will be placed. Unique circumstances with the property have already been demonstrated by the applicant, and obviously this is not self-created. Let me scroll down here. Application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year for the ground-mounted mechanical units, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation. From what I saw, I don't see a need to recommend additional evergreen planting.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So calling item 8, 730 Parkman Drive. Is the applicant ready? I haven't forgotten about you, item 1. You're up next.
You have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're requesting a variance for a generator. The layout of the home and the requirements from the township and the generator. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Andy from, I'm on behalf of Mr. Wooten, 730 Parkman. I'm from Holland Heating.
Thank you.
As I said, the requirements for the township on clearances and the generator manufacturer, we only have that little red spot you're looking at is about the only place we could put it, which places it. We're well 10 feet from the property line, but we're about 15 from the structure, the home. So there's a shrub in front that would shield it from the front, and there's a little green fence that's kind of like artificial foliage on the end that would screen it as well from the neighbor's side. And the exhaust would be pointing away from the neighbor toward the homeowner, so it wouldn't be, directing noise in that direction. It'd be going opposite the neighbor's home. So and that's with the way the house is laid out, and the deck and the patio and all, and the pool. There's just no other place that it could really go. It's realistic, and he's an older gentleman, I believe, in his 80s. I don't think he didn't come tonight. Oh, he is there. Okay,
There we
I'm sorry.
go.
There he is. There's your client.
Behind you, yeah. So he just wants to get a generator. He's older, and like most people, they don't want to go and drag out a gasoline one and fire it up. And so that's just where we're at. It's really the only location it could go.
So do we have any questions from the board? I just want to make sure it's screened.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't tell, and are you aware of the requirement that's going to have to be screened from public view? When you're good with that, just give me a thumbs up.
So the driveway goes up, there's a hedge in front of the driveway. We're gonna put it behind the hedge, which is just adjacent.
So is that hedge green year-round? Is that, okay, it's evergreen hedge, okay. So as long as the public can't see it, because we may just put that in a condition, just so that if the hedge dies, you gotta replace it, you know that? Give me a thumbs up on that? Okay, that's good. All right, so I'll open it to public hearing. Anyone like to comment on this item? Okay, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the board.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
So with regard to the dimensional variance regard to the appeal at 730 Parkman Drive for the dimensional variance required for the ground-mounted mechanical unit, a generator located not immediately adjacent to the residential building and encroaching 6 feet into the required 16-foot northerly side yard setback. I move that the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the way that the lot is organized and the building is placed on the lot, along with his patio and other structures. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason that it will be screened with other evergreen plantings year-round. The unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given the setbacks and the existing floor plan and the placement of the building on the lot as I described earlier, and this is not self-created. So if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year for the generator, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation. And to reiterate that additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the ground-mounted mechanical unit from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the ground-mounted mechanical unit at the time of planting for 12 months of the year, and that they'll be maintained in healthy condition.
Support.
So I have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, request is granted.
Thank you.
All right, so we would need a motion now to take off the table the item 1P.
Duly noted.
Okay, so and a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Support?
Okay. All those in favor of taking item 1P off, reintroducing it to the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so that item is now on. Do we want to have any presentation on this, or we just want to take the public comment?
Why- just take
All right, then let's, why don't you come up, take your, give us your name and address, and give us your comments.
My name is Beth Kavanaugh. I live at 2772 Hunters Way. To give you some perspective as to where I live, 706 Great Oaks Drive is at the top of Great Oaks. We are at the top of Hunters Way where the two streets intersect, so we are directly across the street from 706 Great Oaks Drive. Great Oaks, that property is a corner lot. So both my husband Dennis and myself oppose the proposed structure, which is already present on the property, the sauna. There's a sauna and a hot tub that have been placed on the property. The sauna arrived fully put together at the beginning of November. Living right across the street and having my house face the front, I could see that arrive. And the neighbors that live there, the Gleasons, did not come around and talk to us, and nor do I believe to any of the other adjacent neighbors. So after a couple weeks, I called the Township Zoning Department to see if they knew anything about it, which they did not. They said someone was going to come and check it out, which I assumed that they did. However, they told me it would be good to contact our subdivision board, which I did. And they directed me to our board member, Ted Farmer, who's the architectural and structural contact person for our subdivision. And he told me through email that Mr. Gleason, the homeowner, had been in contact with him and had asked permission for the a structure of a pergola or a fence to be put up, and also asked about accessory structures at that time. And Ted had told Mr. Gleason that no accessory structures were allowed. So Ted, in his email to me, sent me a copy of our warranty deed for the subdivision. And within the warranty deed, it states, and I quote, "No type or kind of building shall be erected, altered, placed, or permitted to remain on the property conveyed other than the one detached single dwelling not to exceed 2 stories in height, together with one private garage with capacity for not more than 3 passenger automobiles." So I had that, that I've read through our warranty deed. The structure in November, electricians came out and men were working in the backyard to what I believe was installing electricity to the sauna. Nothing happened over the holidays at all. February the 27th, I reached out again to the zoning committee here at the township, and they said that it would have to go before the zoning appeals board, which obviously here we are today. I submitted last Thursday 2 updated pictures of what the property looks like. I did not go on their property. I was standing on Hunter's Way in the first one on the street because I was walking my dogs, and the second one standing on my front lawn to show the view of the property with the sauna there. Not only is it visible to all adjacent neighbors, it's visible to anyone that's driving through the subdivision. So our subdivision is North Bloomfield Hills Association, and as I read, it prohibits accessory buildings, and the homeowners were informed of that early on, before the structure even arrived. These rules and bylaws have been in place for years. I was on the subdivision board for 5 years in the early 2000s. There were many requests for sheds. There was a request for carport. There was a request for a life-size child's dollhouse that a grandfather had made, all of which were denied and were never put up on property. So to approve of this structure, the sauna would then allow other similar structures the go-ahead to be installed, only to be called existing later. It sets a precedent, in my opinion. It's something that I personally do not want to see, and nor does our subdivision board. A board representative is here tonight, and she's also going to speak on their opinion of it as well. Just for the record, I don't have any problem with the Gleasons having a hot tub, as long as proper safety measures are taken and mature evergreens are placed around it so it's not visible from the street. Thank you.
So just on that point, so are you saying that location is okay? You would just want evergreens around it, or you?
Well, they have the hot tub placed on patio along with the sauna. I don't know, you obviously can't put that up, but you've seen the pictures.
Yeah, I got, yep,
Right.
looking at it right now, yep.
And
I just want to make sure I understand your comment.
I
You're saying
feel
the location-
anywhere in their backyard, because it's a corner lot with absolutely no tree coverage, other than there's some trees at the far back of their lot. But nothing that would prevent people from seeing it from the street at any location
Yeah,
on their property.
we absolutely would require screening,
Yeah,
screening from public view.
right. But my main concern is the sauna. It goes
Again,
against
it
our
would have to
subdivision
be
rules.
screened from public view, so
Yeah.
the plantings would have to be a minimum of the height of the
Yeah,
saunas.
the height, yeah.
Right, but the sauna itself goes against our subdivision warranty deed.
Right, so
Okay.
we don't
We can't
enforce those. So
Okay.
we've got a zoning ordinance, so that's a separate
Okay. Well,
enforcement
I'm just
mechanism.
informing you so that you are
Yep,
aware of it
that's,
when you
that's
make your
relevant,
vote.
but I'm just
So-
telling you, we don't enforce those for you, but
Right.
that's, so all I was trying to understand is,
I mean, that sauna is pretty tall. They
Oh,
would
yeah,
have
it's-
to plant a lot of evergreens, and those would have to be maintained, and based on the fact they're
Yeah.
not even here, I don't even think that, I doubt that it would be, quite honestly.
go ahead, Bob.
Do you recall when you said the hot tub was installed first, do you recall approximate time when the sauna was installed?
The sauna was placed on the property at the beginning of November.
Okay.
The hot tub sat on the driveway in October for a while, covered. And I don't believe the sauna was there too, because it was all covered and it wasn't that tall.
All right.
But then the sauna went onto the patio first, with the hot tub following shortly thereafter.
Okay, those are all helpful facts for us, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Board member?
Yes. I'm short. Okay. I'm Leslie Benarian. I live at 2950 Wood Creek Way, and I am on the board of North Bloomfield Hills Association, and I'm here just to represent the board tonight. We really try hard as a board to make it a friendly, harmonious subdivision. And our association, through its board and through the deed restrictions, was formed to uphold and create a harmonious private subdivision. The deed restrictions create mutual obligations on the part of the homeowners. Included in the deed restrictions are building and use restrictions. We don't allow any auxiliary buildings to be permitted, and that includes detached saunas. Lots are limited, like she said, to one single dwelling, together with one attached garage. No structure of any kind can be erected until the written approval of the board and our architectural and planning committee. Our board was not approached for approval of plans for an outdoor sauna or a hot tub that they've installed already. So, I know our rules are different than your rules. However, if they had come to us first,
Well,
Yeah,
here's
I
why
mean-
it's useful, is there's sort
Yeah.
of a non-cooperative neighbor that's not really part of the community. So in that sense, it is, that's unfortunate, right? So we try and encourage people to compromise, work together so that you're not in conflict with your board or your architectural control committee. So just so I understand, did someone from the board contact the homeowner? So they're aware of the deed restrictions, and was
yes,
there
they
some
are,
outreach? Yeah.
and they've been trying to make a deal. The problem is, we don't allow auxiliary
Yeah,
buildings.
there's really
And
not a-
it doesn't matter if you put up a hedge, it doesn't matter.
And that's really a very, very visible spot on the
It
lot.
is.
Yeah, it's not
And,
like
we've got 99 homes,
Yeah,
and
okay.
we can't allow, I mean, we're in a tough spot.
Yep. Okay.
So, okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this item? All right, so I'll close the public hearing. So we haven't had a homeowner here yet. How's the board feel about this? There's a lot of.
I would like to see it removed and have him start all over again.
You know,
I'm all for it.
I kind of feel that way too. And he's not here.
Wait. You're gonna make him reapply and pay again?
I'm gonna make him take it down and reapply.
Right.
Go ahead, Carol, this is why you're here. How do you feel?
I'm not in favor of that.
Okay, so what would you, what are you thinking?
If you're saying you're going to flat out deny it, then deny it. But if you're gonna consider it, approving it, don't make him take it down and come back in. I mean, this isn't the first existing structure we've dealt with, guys.
I understand, but I'm also aware of the fact that there have been 2 violations noticed. This has been evidenced to the property owner long in advance of this meeting. He is not here. There does not seem to be any regard for how the township operates or how the community operates. I am not here to enforce the association's, who lost the mic? There it goes. I am not here to help the association enforce its rules. That's their job. But I don't know if this has been properly installed. I don't know if this is the right location. I just know that he stuck it up there and thumbed his nose at everybody around him. Now, that's my personal opinion. Doesn't mean you have to make me happy.
Well, I'm not gonna make you happy, Bob. I mean, you have to.
Well, there's healthy conflict.
You have to keep in mind, they are not requesting dimensional variances. They
I
are meeting the
understand.
setbacks. So if they came in and nothing was up, we don't enforce homeowners' deed restrictions. And it's not uncommon for people to have these type of structures. We would probably approve it with the appropriate screening. But that's my opinion, so you are free to make a motion, Bob.
Yeah, I just, the location of it, to me, it just seems like there might be.
Well, it's convenient. It's on the
Yeah.
patio. You
Yeah.
don't need to put in a
It's on the patio,
foundation.
and
It
quite
could be
frankly,
closer to
there's
the
no
house.
place you could really put it on that lot.
The other observation I would make is what, so if this gets approved, and I'm just hypothecating, if this is approved because we agree to put up some evergreens, what needs to be done as far as the permits are concerned? And do we have anything in our ordinance that makes applying for permits on an already existing structure have a penalty associated with it? I mean, I'm familiar with that in other municipalities.
It's a good question.
Yes.
We do, our requirement, we don't have a penalty that's paid. Our goal is to get them into compliance and get their proper inspections. Therefore, that's why we have the requirement of the 5-day. But I will take your comment, and so noted, but at this time, we don't have a penalty per se.
Okay.
Well, if a motion is to deny it, doesn't that also require for it to be removed?
Yes.
I mean, normally that's
Well,
what goes hand in hand, correct?
Once
So-
the minutes are approved, which would be 30 days, well, roughly 30 days from now. And in fact, that would be 60 days. Is there,
Well, and
I understand Carol's position.
Yeah.
If we're going to approve this thing, if he reapplies, but
It would
but
require.
why does it have to be there?
Well, where are you gonna put it? Look at their property.
I think closer to the house is, more feasible.
That's what I
And
was
if I
thinking.
He can
heard
pour some more
correctly,
concrete.
The deed restrictions, had something in there about being in close proximity to the home.
I'm familiar with the neighborhood. I was selling them when the builder was still in there.
But I don't understand why
selling them
we're
when it was
focused on
farmland,
the reapplication. I guess I'm not I
What's the
mean,
question?
either, I'm not sure why we are focused on the reapplication. Why isn't it, I mean, either it's gonna be approved with
Either approve it or
conditions,
deny it.
or it's gonna be denied, and then it's up to the applicant to
Exactly.
figure
All
out
right,
what
well,
the next
in
steps
that
are.
case, I will make a motion. Mr. Chairman, with regard to the appeal at 706 Great Oaks Drive, I would move that the appeal be denied as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant has not demonstrated compliance with section 42-7.6 standards due to the fact the accessory structure is not and will not be harmonious to the neighborhood given its location, lack of screening, and lack of screening. With that having been said, if the motion passes, the existing sauna and hot tub must be removed and the area restored within 30 days of the approval of the meeting's minutes.
Support.
So I have a motion and support. Any discussion of the motion? All those in favor of the motion to deny, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Roll call.
Okay.
Taylor?
In favor of the motion to deny.
O'Donnell?
In favor of the motion to deny.
Ford?
In favor of the motion to deny.
Giagrande?
In favor of the motion to deny.
Henry?
In favor of the motion to deny.
Rosati?
Opposed.
Motion carries 5-1 to deny.
All right, so let's call now item 9,
Thank you for your patience.
This must be.
2688 Indian Mound.
Item 10.
We're in 10.
I'm sorry?
We're in 10.
Item 10, 19. We're on 9? Okay.
Oh,
They're trying to throw me off?
9.
I didn't have a check mark next to it, so
On
that's,
9.
yeah, she's 9, 2688 Indian Mound.
Yes, hi, Teresa Miller on behalf of the homeowner.
Which one?
My agenda says it's been postponed.
Oh, there was a last minute change in the agenda. I apologize, but it's not postponed. It is on the agenda, so I apologize for the typo in the agenda.
Okay, other 2 agendas, okay, all right.
Okay.
Go ahead, sorry for the confusion.
No problem at all. We're here asking for a variance to build into the setback in the rear yard. The reason that we need the variance is the existing house was overbuilt for the lot, leaving very little space for the homeowner to use. I'm not sure what else is on the presentation there. They're better pictured. No, I guess you can go back to the start. So the existing structure is already out of compliance on the side yard. It encroaches into the side yard variances. And what we're looking for is simply approval to go ahead and build the pergola, the pool, the spa, and some fire pillars. The entire property will be screened with evergreens, not visible on any side. It's consistent with the neighborhood.
So why does the pergola have to be there? So you said the house is overbuilt, and now it seems like we're adding to that issue by having a pool and overbuilding the pool with the pergola right up against the property line.
The placement of the pool and the spa is based on the proximity to the house. A lot of that hardscape that you see is existing. So the pool placement has to stay. The pergola, logically going in that spot, it wouldn't fit into the aesthetic of the property anywhere else. You can see the view right out of the back windows looking out. The pergola is at the logical place there. It is, part of the issue also is the slant of the lot. It's slightly askew. I think if you go, you can see like on the second slide how the property line is slanted. So we're only looking for the variance, and the existing variance on the side of the yard, but the back of the yard, you can see that we are going to build the pool. We're just asking if we can have the variance to go in by 10 feet.
Oh, no, I understand the variance. I understand where you want it.
We want to have that.
I'm just trying to completely understand, why the pergola would need to be that close to the property, right? Because the pool has noise and there's conversation and
Right.
eating and radio or something, so
This does
that we, pools, close to the property line, we're trying to avoid that sort of activity sometimes possible. It seems like there might be other ways to configure the sitting area around the pool. That's just my take on it. I don't know how anybody else feels, but that was what I thought when I looked at it.
Can I ask some background on this property? What's the approximate age of the house, and is the current homeowner the one who built it?
I believe the house is 22 or so years old. It was not built by the current homeowner, no, did not build the house.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions? Because I'll open this to the public, see if anybody wants to comment. Open this to the public for comment. If you'd like to come up and give us your name and address.
And I also have a correspondence that was emailed in today.
Okay. If you can give us your name and address.
Hello, my name's Shane Lavery. My address is 2583 Kent Ridge Court. I am the property owner that's directly up against that.
The pergola? Okay.
I've learned about this just today, so this is my first time getting a chance to actually respond to it. But I guess it's just kind of a general question. The setback is kind of there for a reason, to create separation between the adjacent homeowners, and if this is going to be allowed, does that mean everybody else is going to be allowed to build past the setback right up to their property lines? Because essentially that's what this is. It's really more of a question for the board in that respect. I did want to get more clarification also. It was mentioned in this that there would be additional screening added, but I mean, the way this looks, that's built pretty much right up to the property line, and you're going to have light fixtures on the property line, which will shine through to my property. I don't have any problem with the neighbor. I mean, they're good people, and I've never had a chance to meet them, but we've never had any issues. It's kind of setting a precedent for the rest of the neighborhood and the other houses around, that if we're not going to be using setbacks, I kind of understand what they're there for. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on this item? So I'll close the public hearing. I suppose the comments are kind of similar to what I had. Did you have anything that you wanted to add before we?
I did want to just say, we are observing a portion of the setback. We're not going fully up to the property line.
And is there a plan then to screen the pergola?
We are absolutely going to screen 100%. It will not be visible, not the height, not from any side of the property. It'll all be evergreen trees fully around.
So you mentioned that the pool and everything gets pushed back because of the existing structures that are already there in terms of the patios.
Yes.
But it would seem to me, in doing this project, you could cut back on that and redo your patio at the same time, and that would pull everything up closer to the house.
If we move the pool up closer to the house, there won't be enough room to walk. It's like
How many feet is it?
Yeah, there's like a 7-foot distance between the house and the pool edge. If we were to move it closer to the house, it would be impractical.
Well, can you shift it over to the side? Yeah. I mean, it looks to be a fairly decent sized patio area out there.
Yes.
With some redesign and shifting, it seems to me you could pull it up and not require that, not push so far back into that setback.
The idea was that we weren't going to be redoing all of the hardscape. It was just to be adding the pool and the spa.
So, I have a question for the
Go right ahead.
Yeah, so the pergola itself, not necessarily including the structures that are going out to the right and left at the rear edge of the lot, but there's no way that pergola can be parked on what looks like a deck or a patio to me in the light gray? It doesn't fit in there? I mean, because there would be nothing weird about walking out and immediately having a covered area that you can sit in and view the pool that way. That way the pergola is not encroaching right up on the back lot line. I mean, I'd love to have that. I don't know why the pergola is so far away from the house that, I mean, from an entertaining standpoint, I don't understand that. If you want stuff to be in the pergola, now you've got to schlep your way all the way to the back of the lot, rather than just step outside and take care of your guests. Why does it have to be parked up against the back lot line?
I'm gonna pick up on that. If, in looking at this picture, if you were to shift the pool to the right, you can't do it to the left, that's driveway. Shift it to the right. You can make that patio space adjacent to the pool where you currently have 4 lounge chairs on the left, now large enough to put them on the right. And you could put the pergola behind the driveway. It would be closer to the house, far more convenient for access to the home, and it would eliminate the encroachment. The other observation I'm going to make is that the issue here is the pergola itself. If that was just going to be cement, it wouldn't be an issue. So somebody can sit there and chat about what's going on at the pool all they want. They just can't have a slatted covering on top of them. And since if it's going to rain, that's going to let the rain through, that isn't going to solve that problem either. So the pergola itself is more of an aesthetic as it is a utilitarian structure. I think moving, since nothing is in yet, moving the pool to the right, yeah, maybe it's not from an aerial view perfectly centered in the back, but nobody's going to be looking at it from an airplane. That would make sense to me.
The homeowner will be looking at it though from their house out to the yard.
Would he rather be looking at it or not looking at it at all?
Fair enough. There are other homes in the immediate area that have very similar encroachment.
So we look at every property as unique on a case-by-case basis. So we're here to balance, different factors and see if something's worthy of an exception. So we're looking at this property, we're giving you the feedback.
Sure.
I'm just listening to the board. I don't know that you're going to have 4 votes in favor of what you proposed here. So I think you're going to have to rethink this layout. I don't know if you're working with an architect or something like that, but it appears to us, I think I'm summarizing, that there are other options to achieve what you want without requesting the variance. And we have, a comment from the neighbor that's immediately behind you that's impacted that we're listening to as well. So someone want to make a motion?
I'd move to table this until, give the applicant an opportunity to redesign and come back before us.
Support.
So I have a motion to table and support. I just want to ask before we go on that, do you feel like you understand our feedback?
I do understand it.
Okay.
And I might add, if you redesign it, you may not have to come back to us at all.
Understood. We thought that the fully screened option would make it easier for this to be approved.
Okay. So all those in favor of the motion to table, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's tabled, and please accept our feedback and do what you can.
Okay.
And we do appreciate the screening. Thank you.
So calling item 10-1920 Heron Ridge. Is the applicant ready?
Yes. Anthony Sheena, Sapphire Luxury Homes.
So I'd like to disclose that our title company does some title work for Sapphire Homes, but I don't think that prevents me from being objective about the request.
I would agree.
So please proceed.
Thank you. There's a... Should be coming up there.
Hello, board.
Good evening.
I was just in Bloomfield Hills. You guys are much quicker.
We pride ourselves in
Making
outstanding
decisions.
service in relation to the communities that surround us,
Item one.
that start with B.
Yes.
Bloomfield, Birmingham.
Oh, absolutely.
And you'd be able to go to page 3.
Okay, we're all good.
All right, good, thank you. So just go to the first page, please. Thank you, Corey. So this is 1920 Heron Ridge in Heron Bay. And it's an extremely complex building envelope. And we are requesting variances to encroach into the NFS. And the best way to illustrate this without getting into too much detail, if I can go to page 3. Can you expand that, the next page, rather, sorry, 4.
Oh, you want 4?
Yeah,
4 is better.
yeah. Just blow that up a little bit if you could, please. Okay. So the blue is the natural feature, is the wetland, and the green is the NFS boundaries. So in order for us to build into this lot, we would have to get variances in order to encroach into the NFS. And you can see every part of the home that's beyond the green line would require a variance. That part, garage part, and, and the driveway part on the bottom. Now, the design of this home is what the engineers and architects came up with as the optimal size and positioning. We've rotated this multiple ways, so before even presenting this to you guys, we've tried everything. Even the driveway, if you look, the driveway is a courtyard entrance into a two-car garage, two-car door garage, just because we can't swing around the outside because of the topography and the building envelope. So we really need a variance to encroach into the NFS to even build this house. We have a lot of challenges here, and actually, the homeowners, the landowners here, because he didn't want to be present. So.
Yeah, this, when I looked at it with the staff in the morning, so I was trying to see if I can see why you had the driveway, you only got 2 cars in order to turn around or anybody visits the park, because I was trying to think, can you soften that, or, up in the top there's a little bit of a corner, because this is a unique challenge.
Yeah, we rotated it based on the HOA, no front entry garage doors. Size was also a factor. You have to have a minimum size for this HOA.
And what's the size of the home?
5,005. But even if you were to do half the size, you still couldn't fit it.
Because of it's a very.
You could not fit even half the size of this house, just because of the building envelope.
When you first showed the that first lot that showed all the topographical issues that you had to deal with, I couldn't figure out how you design anything that you could live in.
Trust me, it was difficult. So,
Well, and the other thing I said in the staff is the natural feature setback isn't disappearing. There's a buffer area in there. I mean, it's almost like philosophically do you want.
Well, the natural feature setback is designed to limit, if not prevent, damage to the natural feature itself. I would submit that, with the exception of the driveway space, they've done a pretty darn good job
Yep.
of mitigating any potential damage to the natural feature itself. We also don't want to have an ordinance in place that makes it impossible to build on the lot. That creates a whole different set of issues. Interesting presentation. Yeah. Nice job on the design. Like I said, when I first looked at that, I couldn't see any way that
Yeah.
you could live in whatever you could build.
Yeah, because I'll open this, you have a question, Carol?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not going to be coming back to us wanting to put a million things in that backyard in the natural features setback, are you?
No, I don't think we would even be able to.
Okay, well.
Some
Can't
people
go
have tried.
outside, but they
You're
try.
welcome to come and ask, yeah.
I mean, if we let you squeeze
don't
the
like
house
that.
in, I don't want to see you back.
So
We have the features we need here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We really applaud the creativity as long as this is the extent of it, the limit to it. Okay, so I'll open this to the public. Anyone like to comment on this item? Close the public and bring it back then for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to, unless there's, well, let me make a motion, then we can have discussion.
Okay.
With regard to the dimensional variance request at 1920 Heron Ridge Drive, I would move the dimensional variance be approved as submitted, the location and intervention into the natural feature setback and the necessity of the retaining walls for the pool. I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant has demonstrated all of the standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome and would perhaps make the ability to build anything on the lot near impossible considering the community of homes that it is within. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors for the very same reason. You do not want to have something that is so small that it diminishes the value of the homes in the area. Unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated considering the topography, the natural feature, and the requirement for the setback, none of which is self-created. If this motion is approved, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year for the natural feature setback encroachment.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations. Your request is granted.
Thank you, board. Appreciate it.
Nice work.
Yep.
Thank you.
He does a nice job. I've seen other stuff.
So we're going to call item 11, 1880 Long Lake Shore Drive.
I'd like to put it on the record first that I missed the podium, just so you know. Just so you know.
That's on order. That's on order.
I feel like I'm kind of.
That's on order.
Well, you can take the microphone off and sing.
Yeah, the Amazon truck is lost with the podium.
That helps with your applicant.
Good evening, everyone. Excuse me, my name's Joe Wilson. I'm with Wilson Design Associates. I'm here on behalf of the Cohen family at 1880 Long Lake Shore Drive. Our petition before you tonight is a very simple one. We're simply trying to plant a portion of the NFS with native plant material. The need for this arises, we've got a small flagstone patio that sits outside of that NFS that was once surrounded by large oak trees. Those have since come down. The canopy and the sense of space is gone, and we're simply trying to plant and snuggle that patio back in and trying to give it a sense of space. So with that, I'd be happy to, well, let me back up. We're not changing the grade. We're simply taking the lawn off and putting the plant material in. So we don't anticipate any issues with the floodplain or the water course or anything like that. We're above the high water mark, so Eagle isn't involved. And with that, I'd answer any questions. Oh, I don't think I have any HOA comments, although I guess in a sign of the times, I did get a text today from a neighbor for approval, and I have that printed out if you want that. So, or I could read it to you, it's short. So with that, I'd answer any questions you guys have.
Any questions from the board? Open this to the public for comment. Anyone like to speak? Close public comment, bring it back for a motion.
With respect to property located at 1880 Long Lake Shore, I would move to grant the dimensional variance for restoration of the native plantings in the natural features setback. The applicant has demonstrated practical difficulty, and again, this is one of those reverse practical difficulty situations. You're actually improving the existing conditions significantly and restoring that natural features setback, which is a benefit to the water and wetlands. This is not self-created. Application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and that's it.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is
Thank you,
granted.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Calling item 12, 1504 Goddard Court. Is the applicant ready?
The applicant is absent.
Wow.
Considering the time of day, it is unlikely he or she will be showing up. I would move that this be placed on another meeting's agenda.
Support.
So I have a motion to postpone to another agenda in support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Postponed. Calling next item, item 13, 2540 Rambling Way.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jack Prince, live at 2540 Rambling Way. I'm here with Mrs. Julie Prantera, who is the homeowner's power of attorney and daughter. My wife and I live in this house, and we're just seeking a simple dog fence. The initial specifications I applied for were a little bit of a shot in the dark. That's my fault. I didn't do the research, but we're more than happy to accommodate the 4 foot, and if we need to move it in, that's no problem at all. I think that's about it. We have a great relationship with both neighbors on either side, and yeah, as simple as it can be. If it's a 4 foot aluminum, that's about it. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so we're just looking at the encroachment into the setbacks.
Any other questions from the board? Open this to the public. Would like to speak or take a picture? Let's close public hearing then.
Well, you also have
Bring it back.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we, if this is, well, he hasn't reduced it to 4 feet, has he?
Yes, he said he
Okay,
will.
so then we only need to deal with the encroachment. Okay. Which is dimensional variance, all right.
Yep.
No, I still need the permission request, okay. All right, Mr. Chairman, with regard to the request for the permission request and request for dimensional variance at 2540 Rambling Way, for the permission request, I am going to move that the request be approved as submitted based on the information presented. The applicant has demonstrated compliance with section 42-7.6 standards, because although the height is going to be reduced to 4 feet, we still need permission for the fence itself. Use of the accessory, the location of the accessory structure will not hinder or discourage the adjacent use of property because of the location. And as far as the dimensional variance, I would move that it be approved as requested as well. Based on the information presented, the applicant to demonstrate all of the standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome. We have the need to encroach so that we have sufficient space for the pet. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors. Again, we have no opposition to this. Unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated given the location and the dual frontages, which certainly is not self-created. With that having, and for what it's worth, by the way, we did approve a 6 foot fence once before, so 4 foot's an improvement. In the event the application, motion is approved, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year. Additional evergreen screenings will be required to screen the dog enclosure from public view, and the finished side of the fence must face the exterior.
Support.
So motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome, thank you. Calling item 14, 560 Fox Point Court.
Hello, hi. I am Jessica Bassa, the homeowner at 560 Fox Point Court. We are seeking the variance approval for our current deck that is there. It is currently rotted out and falling through, so we are replacing that with a truss deck. So that is the current deck right there that you can see. And we are requesting that variance because the current deck is within 35 feet of that setback in the back. We are not going deeper than where our current deck is going. We're just simply squaring that off with a truss deck and not going any deeper into the lot. We have support from the HOA and our neighbors.
Very good. It's easy, just replacing the deck, it's already, okay, very good. Opens to public for comment. Anyone like to comment on this item? Close public hearing, bring it back for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
So with regard to the appeal at 560 Fox Point Court for the variance, I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome. This is simply the variance is due to the unique shape of or the size of the lot. There is no injustice to adjoining neighbors by reason that this is merely a replacement. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given that it is an existing structure and currently that is not, clearly that is not self-created. So if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year and all permits must be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yep, you're welcome. Calling item 15, 510 Wilshire Drive. Is the applicant ready?
The applicant contacted me today and noted that he would not be able to attend tonight's meeting due to some personal circumstances. So I just offered up that I could share a slight overview of what the proposal is. It is a replacement of a fence in the exact same location as the current fence. The current fence is in a bit of a state of disrepair, and the applicant is requesting to locate the same height fence. It does exceed by 1 foot high. It's a 5 foot high fence in the exact same location in the rear inside yard. And you can see provided in the PowerPoint the existing fence. The applicant did indicate to me that he did have conversations with his adjacent properties. They didn't have any opposition. So that it was the conversation that I had with the applicant today. So I will leave it to the board to make a determination on how they'd like to proceed.
You said that the fence is currently 5 feet and they're going to stick with that?
Correct.
Yeah, so instead of the wood, it's white vinyl.
Correct.
And I think his screening is on the inside of the fence.
Yeah.
But the fence that's there is pretty bad,
Yes.
so.
But it can't be screened if it's right on the...
No, can't, that's it, so you'd have to pull it in and screen it, so I don't know.
Well, I have to feel that the neighbors are gonna be liking to look at that better
Yeah.
than they
Oh, yeah.
are
I
looking
think,
at right now, so.
no question, but.
How far is it from the property line?
Problem is less start.
My understanding is it's basically on the property
Oh.
line, and it's been there for so long that the understanding is that it is basically on the property line,
Okay.
is what I've been informed.
Okay.
Do those plantings already exist, or is he adding those as part of the? Just seems like,
Doesn't look like they're there.
okay, yeah. So my only observation is the screening is,
Well, the screening's impossible unless you do it from.
you have to move the fence in.
You have to move the fence in. The other issue, and it's not that I doubt we would approve it, it's just that I would be reluctant to approve this without, I guess, is anybody here to talk about this? Because if there's
Well,
nobody here, I guess.
so I'll open this to the public hearing. Anyone would like to comment on the fence? Or anything we've said tonight?
This is gonna,
Close public hearing then.
this is gonna be replaced by something that is far less obtrusive than
Yeah.
a white vinyl fence. And I would hate to have the neighbors wondering how it happened and wanna make sure that we just follow the proper procedure on this.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel.
But I'm not sure I know what that means. Do we have to pull it in and make them put up,
Well, obviously,
Screening.
the neighbors are used to it being on the property line and having no screening.
yeah.
And
But it's-
nobody's shown up to object to the
but
fact
it's-
that it's gonna be replaced.
But it's gray instead of
This will
of
be
wake up white.
visually.
That's true. And sometimes you don't know until you see it.
Yeah, I mean,
Feel.
Yeah. You go, whoa, there's that bright white fence. Why did that happen?
I mean, you would assume that it would be an improvement
Yeah.
based on what's there, but again.
Structurally, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, that thing could fall over.
So it's coming down, so there's no reason why it couldn't be put up in a different location.
However, the applicant is not here to discuss that, and then there could be some other.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, if you look at the driveway and everything, I don't know how far you can,
I'm
I
not,
mean, we
yeah,
don't
I'm
know
not
the
sure there's a
dimensions
whole
on
lot of
that.
That's my
move-in
point.
available.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
can make that kind of request at this point without having a dialogue. I say it's postponed, only, that's my thought,
Jeez.
only because if we're not gonna be able to require screening, then how do we know it's not obtrusive to the adjacent
Right,
neighbor?
well, yeah, if we're only gonna approve it with
Well,
screening.
they've had the
and all that,
opportunity to speak, but if the neighbors assume it's gonna be approved with screening, that's a separate issue as well.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to make a motion that we move this to a future meeting when the property owner can be present.
So we have to meet twice next month.
Yeah.
I know, this is not good.
If there's
Well, I'm
something-
gonna say, I think this is a personal record for me for most
Well,
items
with
postponed in a
three-
meeting.
3, 4, yeah, it's
so
not
four, I
good.
think, yeah. Wow.
I'm with that.
But I think that's the right thing to do.
I'm
You made
just,
the motion?
Yep, I made the
Support.
motion.
So I have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor to postpone, say aye.
Aye.
if
I
you
think
left it would.
I think I'm
I'd have
traveling
been happy.
next month, the whole month.
Me too.
I have,
You're gonna skip
I have a
that
headache
now?
that day.
Okay,
yeah.
we see what's
Maybe
going
they're
on here.
afraid of presenting to you, Mike.
We got a lot of golf trips. Okay,
You like that?
let's get back to business here, come on. Next item, 7024 Lindemere, item 16,
Let's just
the
table it.
applicant ready. Good evening.
I'm Kyle Kuznicki. I live at 7024 Bloomfield Drive. Me and my wife are looking to put up a shed on the property. Kind of hard to tell.
Is the microphone on?
We can hear you.
I don't know, keep talking.
Yeah, we're good.
So the shed would be used to store the property maintenance equipment, lawnmower, blower, rakes, shovels, everything that currently resides in our garage. We have a large red squirrel population near our property, and they have destroyed no fewer than 3 of our vehicles over the course of the last 3 years or so that we've been at the residence.
Oh, yeah.
Holy
So
Yeah.
we can't really park anything in the driveway for any more
Oh, I'm familiar with that,
hours,
yeah.
actually. So this would allow.
My son found out the hard way there, yeah. So is this gonna be screened at all?
It's partially screened, you can kind of see by, oh, if you go back. It's partially screened, we have a lot of woods on the property, butting up to all adjacent properties. We are open to doing additional screening if necessary.
So it has to be screened from public view, that's generally what the, and you probably, kind of glean that from some of our other motions, so just, any other questions from the board? Open this to public for comment. Close the public hearing, bring it back for a motion.
I'll make a motion for the permission request in regards to the appeal at 7024 Windermere Drive for the proposed shed. I move that the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the use of the accessory structure is appropriate to the neighborhood. Sheds are very, very common, and I definitely understand the need for it. With that said, if approved, the motion also includes application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. And additional evergreen plantings will be required to screen the shed from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the shed at the time of planting for 12 months of the year.
Support. Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted. Calling item 17-1921 Hammond Lake Drive. Is the applicant ready?
Yes. My name is Alexander Adler, architect representing homeowners. Scott Bain, homeowner, is here present. We are seeking two variances. One at the front yard for a garage addition. Scott is a disabled veteran and he needs to secure his tools. The best way to do that, the only way to do that without having them placed like in the basement of the house or other area is to add on a garage in the only logical place in the front there, just large enough to fit a covered trailer that could house his tools. The second variance is rear yard where the existing deck needs to be repaired and replaced due to the condition of it. It currently sits within that setback. It's 91.6 feet from the lake. They also, as part of the repair, they want to extend the deck a couple feet and also extend it across the back of the house to the master bedroom where they can access the deck all the way across. But they don't really need a variance for that part of the deck, but it kind of makes sense for accessibility reasons. We have letters from the adjacent neighbors and also the HOA. They have no concerns.
And why don't we show the aerial on this, because I think that's helpful, kind of similar to the...
Yeah, I just have one quick question too. You kept referring to a trailer?
A covered trailer, something that would house his tools that he...
So it's not a garage addition?
Oh, no, that would, we made it that size, the 24 foot by 12 feet, so it could fit an enclosed trailer.
It's going to be inside the garage.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I thought you meant...
I caught my attention too, but
Yeah,
it's going to
all
fit
right.
inside the garage. Yeah.
So it's just in that one photo, if you go back, right there,
Yeah.
on the right-hand side, is the existing garage, and we just want to extend out in front of that.
So the trailer fit.
Do we have a aerial?
Yeah, I want...
Yeah.
The
There you go.
Zoom it in.
Yeah, survey.
I have this.
Oh, I see. Is there was an aerial image that had some colored lines on it.
Yeah, that
Showing-
kind of shows a little better the...
Well, anyways, I guess I can describe it. The addition of the garage in the front, because the road condition there's a cul-de-sac, so that it kind of tapers in towards the property, so it kind of cuts the front yard off. But if you look at the location of the addition of the garage, it still kind of sits back from where the adjacent neighbor's garage is.
Yeah, so it really, if you see it in line with the others, I think it's helpful, because it shows...
And if you go to two houses down.
His is the
to
one with the
left,
two cars.
Yeah.
And
That
that one
garage
there's even
goes
further
out
out.
farther, or
And one
it at
next
least
to it?
appears to be closer to the road than what this addition is.
That's fine.
Yeah, well, there isn't anywhere else you could put it based upon the configuration of your lot.
We're talking about house 3.
Yeah, that's the house.
All right, any other questions from the board? Open this to the public. Any comment? Close public hearing, bring it back.
With regard to the property located at 1921 North Hammond Lake Road, I would move that we approve the dimensional variance for the garage addition encroaching 10 feet in the front yard setback and replacing and expanding the existing balcony and encroaching 10 feet into the required waterfront setback because the applicant has demonstrated a practical difficulty. I'm so tired I can't talk.
It's all right.
Compliance
We're
with the
close to
strict
end.
letter of the ordinance would be difficult based upon the placement of the house on the lot and the fact that the front yard curves and cuts down the lot that is available there. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors in terms of the location. He will line up with the adjacent neighbors and no one has objected. There's also unique circumstances in that this would be a reasonable accommodation to assist the person with a disability, and this is not self-created. If approved, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year. All permits must be obtained prior to installation.
Support.
I'm not going to do screening on this.
No.
So I have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, request is granted.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Calling item 186490, Telegraph.
If you want to voluntarily screen, feel free, okay?
I was just wondering what it looked like to the front that faces the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to throw something in to soften it.
Okay. I will. Thank you.
Thanks for your
Thank you.
service.
Yeah.
The applicant can proceed.
Hello, my name is Chris Barbat. I am the owner of the property seeking the variance. So, as you know, the ordinance has been amended, and the station here fulfills the requirements of the new amended ordinance that allows gas stations in Bloomfield Township to sell alcohol. And what we're requesting is one sign, just to state liquor, because usually when the liquor is displayed, it's assumed that other products are sold with it. And, if it just said beer, then people would think it's just beer usually. So liquor encompasses all, and we're just proposing the one sign.
Any questions from the applicant? Open this to the public. Anyone like to speak on this item?
I think it's a wonderful idea to say that the sign is there.
Thank you for that insightful comment. We'll
Did I tell
close
you
the
when I
public
saw
hearing and bring
that it was a
back.
liquor wall, I was thinking, then I missed the sign part. I was like, a liquor wall? Okay, what does that mean?
It's a pretty small sign, but we want it to be a little modest. Can't really go much smaller than that.
What are the hours of this?
Hopefully get approved.
Are you Scott's brother, cousin,
am.
what? Oh, okay, brother.
What are the hours of the store?
This store now is 6 a.m. to 6 to 11, and Friday and Saturday we open till midnight.
That's not gonna change?
We don't know. It all depends on staffing and labor. It's pretty tough to staff overnight.
Would hourly change require some discussion with the township?
It's a good question, because I actually presented this to the township board last night for the request for the liquor license. The applicant and the station was approved back in, I think, 2019 to operate 24 hours. So they do have that approval. However, it's been indicated to me, and you just heard again from the applicant, that they have no intent at this time to be expanding their hours of operation. And they've been operating at these hours that they currently have as long as they, that I know of, and certainly since this went through site plan approval, probably about, like probably 2018, kind of guessing of when the new building was constructed.
Just as a tangent, I live about a mile away, and I told my wife about this item, and that was her first question, is they're not going to be open 24 hours, are they? So that's sort of interesting. Because I'm going to go back and look at the criteria. It's very interesting. I mean, I think it's a good thing, but it's kind of an interesting observation about the 24 hours. But anyway, that's a tangent. So can we get a motion? I go in there all the time for the Dunkin' Donuts and the donuts. I like the coffee and the donuts.
I get
Well,
gas
the
there.
donuts
I get
are amazing.
Donuts there. You know, I'm very familiar with the location.
The donuts are amazing.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Quicker 24 hours a
Okay,
day
so
is
in
not
regard to the appeal at 6490 Telegraph Road for the dimensional variance relative to a secondary wall sign in addition to the existing wall and ground sign, I move the variance be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome given the location and the desires of the owner to communicate in an effective but not ostentatious way their location there and what they provide to the community. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the fact that, you know, the liquor license has already been granted and they would certainly expect appropriate signage. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given the layout of the building and the location of the building, and certainly not self-created. Application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted. Just out of curiosity, like how much space in the store is going to be liquor, set aside for liquor now?
If you know the length of the counter,
Yep.
which is around, I would say 15 feet, so probably around 10 of the 15 behind the counter.
Okay.
10 feet behind the counter.
Okay, and then it would be interesting, because I'm sure you have the data on this, is what impact that has on the traffic to your...
The traffic, the foot traffic.
Yeah.
It increases it.
No, I know that, I wonder what the multiple is, I wonder what the...
You know, it's not as much as you think.
Okay.
As we would think. It's usually just kind of weekend. It increases the foot traffic over the weekend. And it's only for a couple hours from like 6 to 8, and then kind of goes back to normal.
Okay. All right.
Which helps us because our traffic is usually in the morning, so
Yep.
we kind of spread it out.
Yep.
With the coffee and the donuts in the morning. So.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. All right, calling item 196543 Telegraph.
Hello, my name is Kevin Dieters. I'm from Metro Signs. We're the sign contractor. This is going from a Beaumont location to a Corwell Health. We're applying for a wall sign. The reason we're here, the wall sign is compliant in terms of size. The reason we're here is that the logo that we're proposing on the wall sign is slightly larger than what's allowed. We're essentially replacing their wall sign like for like, the Beaumont sign, with a comparable Corwell Health sign. We also initially, we're going to do a face change on that under canopy circle sign that they have. That right now says Beaumont over there on the right. Initially, we had the Corwell logo, that circular logo on the sign. The planning department suggested that either that wasn't allowed, or I don't remember exactly, but they asked could we just remove the logo and have the face change say just Corwell Health. So we did that. Right now, based on 5% of the wall sign area, that logo could be 1.88 square feet. We're asking for 3.12, so it's an increase of just over 1 square foot. just to remain consistent with Corwell Health's branding, and that's their logo size relative to the rest of the letters on the sign. We're not asking for some huge logo that's 5 times larger than what they could have. It's just to remain consistent with, like I said, their logo and branding, and to make the logo proportionate to the letters on the wall sign that say Corwell.
Thanks very much. Any questions from the board? Open this to the public for comment. Close public comment.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
So with regard to the appeal at 6543 Telegraph Road for the dimensional variance is required for a logo exceeding 5% of the sign area in the B3 zoning district. I move that the variance be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome. Basically, this new sign is just simply in line with the current sign that is there, and it's a replacement. There is no injustice to adjoining neighbors. Like I said, it is a replacement. Unique circumstances with this property have been demonstrated, given that there is an existing sign and they're replacing the sign, and for these reasons, it is not self-created. So if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, request is granted. And I'm guessing it's the same
Same
for
thing
the
for
next
the
thing.
next one.
So we'd just say ditto.
Can I double that?
Ditto for that.
Yeah, you want to open the public hearing?
Is there any, I would like to open the public hearing on the final item, item 20. Anyone like to comment on item 20? Close the public hearing and bring it back for a motion.
Repeat motion.
I just want to note that this one does include a ground sign though, just so you're aware. It's just changing out the existing.
Slightly different,
Yeah.
similar but a little bit different. They're both Corwell Health, but this second case is a little bit different.
Yeah, so the ground side's already there. We're just,
Doing the same thing.
Tenant panel face changes.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
changing the wall sign and need a variance for the logo. So the
Yes.
wall sign, our case is identical, but we're also changing the tenant panels on what's considered secondary signage, which are existing, and we're just changing the panels from Beaumont to Corwell.
okay,
So, Mr. Chair, do you want me to make a motion?
Yes.
please, please do.
Here we go. So, in regard to the appeal at this new address at 42757 Woodward Avenue, I move that the dimensional variance required for the wall sign to have a logo exceeding 5% of the sign area and secondary signage tenant panels on 2 ground signs in the B3 zoning district. I move that this variance be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome. Based on the fact that this is a replacement, there's no injustice to adjoining neighbors. The unique circumstances with the property, there are none, and it's not self-created. So if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year and all permits to be obtained prior to installation.
Support.
Motion support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations. The request is granted.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second? All those in favor?
For anything?
I'm here for something else, but I absolutely love his signs.
Oh, well, we're done.
Oh, so I was.
What else are you here
yeah.
for?
Just a special circumstance. May I take just 2 minutes of your guys' time? It's about an item that was earlier on the agenda today.
Are you the applicant?
I'm a part of them. They were here, they got denied. It was about the pergola at 2688 South Indian Mound Road.
Oh.
The neighbor came and
Yeah.
talked about that.
Well, it wasn't denied, it was.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
tabled.
Postponed, yeah.
Yeah.
I just have a question, and Andrea knows my situation.
Well,
It's kind of,
I
Yeah.
think the meeting's over,
It is
so.
over.
can't ask the question.
No.
No?
You can speak with the township.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I speak with you, Andrea?
Yeah.
we're.
Wait, so wait a minute.
After the meeting?
Are we vote, yeah, so all those in favor of?
Aye.
Say aye?
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned.